Oh,
You
man.
are very good. You are very good.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, yeah.
In the last 2 years, Ariana Grande made a decision that completely reshaped her career, and most people did not recognize it while it was happening. There was no announcement, no farewell tour, and no public explanation. But once the pattern becomes clear, it explains why her life and visibility look so different now. This was not a break from fame. It was a deliberate step away from a system that had defined her for over a decade. Ariana stopped moving the way pop stars are expected to move. The constant releases slowed. The pressure to stay everywhere faded. And instead of filling the silence with updates, she let the silence speak for itself. What makes this move unusual is how controlled it was. Artists usually disappear after something goes wrong. Ariana stepped back while everything was still working. Her streaming numbers stayed strong. Her influence remained massive. From the outside, there was no reason to change course. That is what made the shift so easy to make.
I just wanted to address your concerns about my body and talk a little bit about what it means to be paid such close attention to. The body that you've been comparing my current body to was the unhealthiest version of my body.
Fans noticed small signs first. Fewer interviews, fewer appearances, a softer public presence. Music stopped being the center of every decision. At the same time, something else quietly took priority. Long commitments, long schedules, projects that required patience instead of constant visibility. This was not about stepping away. It was about repositioning. The real impact of this move did not show up immediately. It unfolded slowly, reshaping how Ariana interacted with the industry and how the industry interacted with her. By the time people started asking where she went, the transformation was already complete. And here is the part that matters most. This decision did not limit her career. It protected it. Once you see what pushed her to make this move and what it allowed her to build instead, the entire trajectory of her career makes sense. For most of her career, Ariana lived inside a system that rewards constant output.
This isn't the first time a fired-up Ariana has spoken out. Last year, she took to TikTok.
The body that you've been comparing my current body to was the unhealthiest version of my body.
Albums, tours, promotion cycles, interviews, and appearances all moved at a pace that never really slowed down. That formula worked incredibly well, but it came with a cost that became harder to ignore over time. The pressure was not just professional. It was physical, emotional, and creative. By the early 2020s, Ariana began speaking openly about exhaustion and boundaries. Touring had taken a toll on her voice. Public scrutiny followed her everywhere. Every release came with expectations she could not escape. What looked like success from the outside often felt like survival behind the scenes. That tension became the first crack in the system she had lived inside for years. Instead of pushing harder, she started pulling back. Music releases slowed. Promotion became selective. She stopped filling every gap with content. This was not accidental. It was a test. Ariana was seeing what would happen if she stepped off the treadmill while still at the top of her game.
Comfortability that people have commenting on that I think is really dangerous. And I think it's dangerous for all parties involved because no one has the right to say.
The result surprised a lot of people. Her relevance did not disappear. Her audience did not leave. The machine kept running without her feeding it constantly. That realization changed everything. It showed her that longevity did not require constant exposure. It required control. Once she saw that stepping back did not erase her influence, the idea of reshaping her career became realistic instead of risky. She no longer had to choose between success and stability. This was the moment the old formula lost its grip. Ariana stopped chasing momentum and started protecting herself instead. And once that shift happened, the next move became inevitable. Because because stepping away from the pop cycle opened the door to something far more permanent. And that door led her directly into a commitment that would redefine how the industry viewed her.
I was on a lot of antidepressants and drinking on them and eating poorly, and at the lowest point of my life when I looked the way you consider my healthy.
The moment Ariana committed to Wicked, everything about her career structure had to change. This was not a short project or a side role that fit between album cycles. It required years of preparation, vocal discipline, and full immersion. That level of commitment made the traditional pop star routine impossible to maintain at the same time. Unlike music releases, film schedules do not bend easily. Training, rehearsals, filming blocks, and promotional obligations stretch across long periods with little flexibility. Once Ariana stepped into that world, she had to step out of another. Touring became unrealistic. Album rollouts stopped being practical. The constant visibility that once defined her career no longer fit the life she was building. What surprised many people was how completely she embraced the shift. Instead of trying to juggle everything, she chose focus. Music did not disappear, but it stopped being the center of her public identity.
How do you do to cope with beauty standards, to always look perfect?
My goodness. I'm not gonna. It's okay. It's okay.
Acting required restraint rather than saturation, patience rather than momentum. That change forced Ariana to slow down in a way she had never been allowed to before. This commitment also reshaped how she protected her voice and energy. Film work demands consistency and control, especially for a role that relies so heavily on vocal performance. Preserving her voice meant avoiding long tours and exhausting promotional schedules. The decision looked quiet from the outside, but it was strategic at every level. As this new chapter unfolded, the industry began viewing her differently. She was no longer just a pop star stepping into film. She was an artist willing to step away from guaranteed success to build something longer lasting. That distinction mattered. It repositioned her not as someone fading from music, but as someone expanding her career in a deliberate direction. And once that repositioning took hold, it changed how Ariana approached every opportunity that followed. Because after making one long-term commitment, short-term wins stopped being the goal. Once Ariana stepped out of the non-stop pop cycle, her relationship with fame changed almost immediately. She was no longer reacting to expectations. She was setting them. Interviews became rare and intentional. Public appearances were tied to specific projects rather than obligation. The pressure to constantly explain herself disappeared, and that alone gave her a level of control she had never experienced before. This shift also changed how the industry interacted with her. Instead of being treated as a constant presence that needed to stay visible, Ariana became an event. When she did appear, attention followed naturally. Silence no longer hurt her relevance. It strengthened it. That reversal proved that stepping back did not weaken her position. It made it stronger. Her business decisions reflected the same mindset. Rather than using her brand as a promotional extension of music releases, she treated it as a standalone venture. This allowed her to separate creativity from commerce. Music no longer had to fund everything else. That freedom reduced pressure and expanded her options. Fans noticed the difference in how she carried herself. There was less urgency and more intention. Her public image softened, not because she was hiding, but because she was no longer forcing visibility. The distance created room for balance. For the first time, her career was structured around sustainability instead of constant momentum. This phase confirmed that the move she made was not temporary. It was a redesign. Ariana was building a career that did not depend on burning herself out every few years. And once that structure was in place, there was no reason to return to the old model. The final piece of this story explains why this decision may be the most important one she has ever made, and why it sets her apart from nearly every pop star of her generation. What Ariana did next confirmed that this was not a pause or a detour. It was a long-term strategy. By stepping away from constant output, she protected the one thing pop stars often lose early in their careers: longevity. Instead of chasing every trend or moment, she positioned herself to stay relevant without being overexposed. This move also insulated her from burnout. Years of non-stop schedules had already shown how fragile that pace could be. By choosing fewer commitments, Ariana gave herself the ability to recover creatively and personally. That balance allowed her to approach future projects from a place of choice rather than obligation. When she does release music or appear publicly, it comes with intention instead of pressure. Another effect was how this changed audience expectations. Fans stopped demanding constant updates and learned to trust that Ariana would return when she was ready. That trust is rare in pop culture. It usually only happens when an artist proves consistency through quality rather than frequency. Ariana earned that trust by stepping back without disappearing completely. This approach also gave her leverage. Studios, brands, and collaborators now meet her on her terms. She no longer has to say yes to stay visible. The scarcity created by her absence increased the value of her presence. That shift turned control into an asset instead of a risk. By this point, it became clear that Ariana had escaped a cycle that shortens careers. She did not walk away from fame. She redefined how fame works in her life. And that redefinition explains why her career now looks quieter, stronger, and far more stable than before. All that remains is understanding why this move matters beyond her own story and what it signals for the future of artists like her. When everything is taken together, the move Ariana Grande made was not about stepping away from music or chasing something new. It was about reclaiming control before the industry took more from her than it already had. By choosing long-term stability over constant visibility, she altered the trajectory of her career in a way very few artists managed to do while still at their peak. This decision allowed her to exist outside the cycle that often defines pop stardom. Instead of burning bright and fading quickly, she built space for evolution. Acting, business, and selective visibility gave her room to grow without being consumed by expectations. That balance is what makes her position today so rare. She is still relevant, still powerful, and still in demand without needing to be everywhere all the time. The quieter pace people notice now is not absence. It is intention. Ariana no longer moves according to pressure. She moves according to choice. That shift protects her voice, her health, and her creative future. It also gives her something many artists never get: time. This is why the move mattered. It reshaped not just how Ariana works, but how she will be remembered. She did not let the industry decide when she should slow down. She decided for herself. And in doing so, she built a career designed to last far longer than the spotlight usually allows. That choice is the real reason her path looks different now, and it may be the smartest move she ever made.